Hey y'all, welcome to Fitting in Homemaking. Today we are going to be doing some laundry, including folding a massive pile of it. We are going to be cleaning out the fridge, and we're also going to be cleaning up the mess in the kitchen from the weekend where we got a little bit behind on it, and breakfast and all of the mess that cleaning out the fridge creates. So hope you guys are ready for that. If you are body doubling, welcome. I hope you are going to be able to get some stuff done with me. And I'm actually looking forward to this voiceover. I've been looking forward to it, doing it for a little bit. I haven't had a lot of time to record lately. But when I was doing laundry, so I think I mentioned in my last video that I found kind of a new area of YouTube that I wasn't paying attention to before, and that was the channels that focus on history documentaries. So I found this one history channel, not like the official history channel, but just history channel in general. I think it's called Chronicle maybe, but they have some pretty good documentaries, and I ran across one on something that really interests me, and this is going to sound so stupid when I say it, but this is what I was listening to. If you can see, I have earbuds in here. This is what I was listening to when I was folding this massive pile of laundry and doing some of the other housework here. But it was actually a documentary on syphilis and the spread of syphilis. So syphilis as a disease, I don't care too terribly much about, but I found it really interesting because I'm really interested in medieval history. That was part of what I did for my undergraduate. And I'm interested in the history of science. So like how these diseases spread was super interesting to me, and where they originated, that sort of thing. But because I know a little bit about syphilis already, I knew that we were going to be looking at forensic anthropology and bioarcheology, which is kind of my jam to a certain extent. So I've always been really interested in archaeology, and in forensic anthropology, I've taken college coursework in forensic anthropology and other anthropology classes and archaeology courses. So when I saw this, I knew a little bit of what I was getting into, because when you take a forensic anthropology course, you learn a little bit about diseases that, can affect your bone structure. So, because you're learning how to identify that kind of thing, right? Anyhow, so I was super stoked to listen to this history documentary on, of all things, syphilis. So if you don't know much about syphilis, when I say that, you probably think of the venereal disease. I guess I'm not really certain what YouTube allows you to say, but the syphilis that we have nowadays is an STI, and that's the one that, most people are researching because it's a pretty horrific disease. So syphilis does still exist in modern day. It's a bacteria. We have antibiotics for this now. So it's, as long as you have it, I'm sure it's very uncomfortable and it's not great, but you can, take medicine for it now and be fine. Obviously before antibiotics, that was not the case. And syphilis in that case is very, very nasty. You get, I guess we will go with the word sores on the area of infection as the first part, and then it progresses through a couple more stages. However, you can be infected with it and not know it, because it can have a long latency, a long latent period where it's just you're asymptomatic, where you don't have any outward signs that you have it, but you are infected. So it's a little bit sneaky that way. But the reason I learned about it in a forensic anthropology class is because in the third stage of syphilis, and this is the really nasty stage, there's actually bone degeneration that happens. At this point, you have sores that have spread throughout your body, and it specifically attacks the facial bone. So you'll see people with these divots isn't quite the right word because that makes me think of something sharp, but essentially you can get a hole worn through the skin in your facial bones and like your frontal bone on your skull, and sometimes you'll see holes in the hard palate of the skull, and these are from like lesions and sores that have gotten so big that they have just literally eaten through the bone there. So that, and then there's also some changes to your leg bones. The shape of those changes a little bit if you make it to the late stage of syphilis, where it's just super, super nasty. So we can actually look at bones of people, and if they have lived long enough to make it to the third stage of syphilis, then you can see that in their bones. You can also see it in children's teeth, where if the mother has syphilis while she's pregnant and then she has the child, your teeth actually form when you are in the uterus still, right? So there is a specific kind of, I guess you would kind of call it deformation of the enamel of your teeth when you're, still developing your teeth before you're born. And then after they're born, if the child passes away and we have, still their baby teeth, I guess is what we would call them now, you can see in their teeth that the mother had syphilis and passed it on, this marker on to her child, right? So you wouldn't necessarily need to have late stage syphilis for that to happen, but just to have the infection. Anyhow, I find crap like that intensely interesting. And I guess one thing that I didn't know about the disease, which this documentary was really interesting to learn about, was that for a very long time, they thought that syphilis came from the New World. And when Christopher Columbus landed in the Bahamas and had, we will call it just contact with the indigenous peoples, that they actually brought syphilis back to Europe with them. And spoiler alert, that is completely disproved by evidence in bones that they found. And then they, went to historical documents and they found other evidence that this was just absolutely not the case of how it happened. And for some reason, I felt really, really vindicated by this because there is I don't know if he was a forensic anthropologist, a bioarcheologist, but someone within those fields who was like doubling down, even when presented with new evidence, that yes, it went from the New World to the Old World, and the vector was Columbus's crew and all this sort of thing, and he was just doubling down on it, and he did it in such a way that was very irritating to me, that I was so happy to see him get his comeuppance when he was just like overloaded with the amount of evidence that is absolutely not what happened, and he had to, change his point of view about what actually happened in history. But anyway, I found that stuff super interesting. Sorry if that was a rabbit hole for you and you were not interested. All right, y'all, we are back in my kitchen again. Dishes that have dried that need to be put up. Dirty dishes from supper last night that are soaking. Dishes from supper and the weekend and breakfast and the weekend. And very dirty countertops. Like, what is that? Pancake grease? Who knows? That looks more like grease. The humidifier that I always have to take out of my kids' bedroom first thing in the morning, otherwise they'll play with it. You can see my husband made some eggs for breakfast for the kids and himself. So yeah, I need to address this, but I'm not going to do that right now. What I'm going to do So we're gonna look in here. Oops, if the door will stay open. And address this, because see that glass lid back there? There's banana pudding in there, and it's probably been well over a month, so that's gonna be fun. And there's stuff back there, that open container, and then a little piece of birthday cake. That's from my husband's birthday. It is now the end of March, and his birthday is at the end of January. So I don't think we're gonna end up eating that. And we have, I think that's old avocado and beans. And just, you know, leftovers that need to be, this is just from last night, so that's cool. But some other leftovers that need to be addressed. Some stuff in the back there that probably just needs to be thrown out because we're not gonna use it. So I'm gonna go through here and clean it out today. I'm not going to clean. I'll probably just wipe it out because I don't have that kind of time. But I want to get the old food out of here so that we can actually see what we have to eat for real. All right, let me get you guys set up so I have my hands free. Okay, so I'm going to pull all the food out, put the nasty food probably over here because it's dirty over there anyway. And then we can address the kitchen as a whole. Like I just said, I'm not going to clean in there. I'll get like a wet paper towel and like wipe it out, but we're not cleaning the fridge today. We're just getting the food out. All right, said what paper towel or cloth towel, I guess to be more accurate. All right, this is milk that I poured this morning for my daughter, so that's fine. These are fine, so I'm gonna put them over here to go back in. Don't know how old this milk is. Go to the side. This is fine. This is water. I don't think that needs to be in there. You know what, I'll pour it in Max's bowl. This is avocado and beans of unknown age. So I know it's not from last week because I used the leftover black beans from taco night. We usually do black bean tacos. I did the leftover black bean tacos from this past week, and I put them in Fiesta turkey burgers, which is a really good way to use up the rest of that. So those are older than that. This is just salsa and some mac and cheese that we had 2 nights ago, so that's fine. Probably not gonna make quiche anytime soon, so let me go ahead and pop this in the freezer. And that gets rid of that bag. And then husband lunch portion, leftovers from last night, that's fine. Unknown how old these pancakes are. These are pizza crusts that I've been trying to eat through that it's just not gonna happen. Oh, this is a piece of fish. I'll eat this today. Very small piece of trout. I do not know what these are. I will have to ask my husband about them though, because this is generally the Tupperware that his mom gives us stuff in. So we'll put that in the keep pile. I think we have picked all the chicken off of this, so this can go. It's just mainly a container of chicken bones. This is fine. It has an expiration of May, but it doesn't get used when it's shoved all the way in the back there. So let's put it up here. Right. This can go. I opened this a while ago and I had a friend over, and I'm sure it is just flat as all get up. So that can be poured out. Okay, eggs. Definitely need some more eggs. All right, I'm gonna wipe off this side so I can put that stuff back in because I am running out of room for the stuff to go back in on the countertop. See, I always forget that these slide until I'm cleaning it. I know, you've been open too long. So that won't be quite so irritating. Okay. All right, and honestly, the inside isn't terribly dirty, so that's fine. All right. X can go back. As I say that, I'm noticing this is really dirty. Don't normally look at that part. Okay. Let's see. We have salsa that's kind of shorter. Whatever this is. This I'm gonna just leave out on the. Oh no. Leave it like that so I can see it. And then these two guys are the same thing. So here, I'll put this on here because I'll have some mac and cheese for lunch too. Put the milk stuff here. Does that not fit? Better. All right. Cream cheese, sour cream. This is something that my husband got for work and then brought home, and no one likes it, so it's gonna go. There's no point in keeping stuff that we're not going to eat that has already been opened. No idea how old that is. That doesn't look good anymore. This is the banana pudding that who knows how long it's been in here. All right, chicken broth, that should still be okay. These are grits that need to be eaten. So let me put them here. More random pancakes that we have not gotten to. My husband really likes to do like pancakes and waffles for weekend breakfasts, and the hummus is fine. See, we usually have just little bits of veg left over, and normally my husband puts it in his meals, but I guess we just forgot these couple of times. What was I saying? Yeah, like gross. It's uncovered. Ouch. Oh, about the pancakes. This isn't open, that's fine. My husband likes to make pancakes and waffles and stuff for a nicer breakfast on the weekend, but it just, a lot gets made and we can't ever eat through them, and then instead of like eating the old ones like we should, he like wants to make fresh ones, so we never make our way fully through them. All right, the yogurt's good, the applesauce is good. Can I turn that off? Okay, let's see if that works. I don't want to turn it off for forever because sometimes the doors don't get closed all the way, and I do want it to let us know then, but our neighbor actually gave us these, and we hide them in the back because our children really like whipped cream, but we just do it as a special treat for them. Come over here. This, do not recommend. It's been opened, and it's not good. We need to never buy that again. If it wasn't open, I'd donate it to a food pantry or something, but it has been opened. So yeah. Hold this shut so it doesn't attack me by sliding out. And that still looks good. those are all dried out. Those can go. Alright. One hot dog, some lunch meat. What's this? That's some ham that's definitely going off. That can just be tossed. You don't need that part of the string cheese. Alright, we have tortillas. Looks like we need more of those. Some mozzarella and some lunch meat. Okay. Perfect. And the condiments should all be good. We go through those pretty quickly in general. Alright, so let me put the stuff back. Back here. I guess it's okay for that one to be shut. And milk. Actually, I don't know how well you can see that, so keep it open. It stays open. There we go. The broth goes up there. Our sour cream and cream cheese. Big things of yogurt and applesauce that our children love. And some yogurt and hummus. So you can see there is a lot less stuff in here because, you know, sometimes you just accumulate stuff that you're not going to eat, and sometimes, even though it's wasteful, you just have to be honest about that so you can actually see what you need and what you have to eat. So happy with that's done. It's been weighing on me for a while. Now comes the gross part of having to get rid of all of the yucky food, which... And now my kitchen is really fantastically messy. Yuck. All right, so guess I'm just gonna pull out the trash bin here, and some of this stuff I'm just gonna throw away in the container so I don't have to open it. I'm not gonna wash this off and recycle it. I'm just not. Using the spoon. Ugh. Broccoli doesn't smell good at the best of times. I guess we just need to be better about gauging how much veg we're going to eat, and either make a lot extra so that my husband is aware and takes it in his lunches and I can take some left over in my lunches, or just be better about not making quite so much. Yeah, I think that's that avocado's toast. Yuck. Yeah, we have gotten out of the habit of meal planning as much as we should. And when we meal plan, I usually try to make sure that if we have leftovers of something from one night, we can use it for another night. Like I did last week with doing the, oh gosh, those are just totally stuck in there. Yeah, there's like rotting eggs at the bottom. That's gross. So we can either like use the extra, like I did with the beans in the turkey burgers last week, And then if we don't have any left over, we can always just, you know, make more. But I tried to do that. Because sometimes if it's just a little bit, it's like not worth taking as leftovers in a lunch. Alright, so this banana pudding, other than the birthday cake was probably the oldest thing in here. Yuck. I mean, honestly, it doesn't look terribly different from it being fresh. Banana pudding is not one of those super attractive desserts. But I think my husband thought our kids were going to eat a lot of it. And I know it's one of his favorites, so I was trying not to eat too much of it so that he could have most of it. And then we didn't end up eating it, because I guess everyone was trying to leave it for the others. Alright. That's those. Let's see what else needs to go in here. This will go in recycle after I dump it out. So I think that's it. The rest goes in the sink or in recycle. Alright. Now the part that I really don't want to do is cleaning all of this. But let's get to it, because complaining about it is not going to make it happen. Oh, I need to put this in Max's bowl and then... Too much stuff in. Alright. Dagnabbit. That was exactly what I didn't want to happen. Alright, y'all, it's voiceover Sarah again. This part is just, you know, cleaning up, so it's not terribly interesting. And I want to go back to listening to all of my history, syphilis, rabbit hole stuff at this point. I think I had actually moved on to a video about the Black Plague, maybe, at this point. But yeah, I get kind of like super focused on these different areas. And, you know, I think before in a different video I recommended the book The Ghost Map by Stephen Johnson, which is about cholera. So I will say, when I was studying, or when I was in my forensic anthropology course that I took, I was really, really interested in it, and there was a topic in class that came up one time that was speaking about a genocide that I was just completely blissfully unaware of. So I went to the library and went ahead and looked up a book on this particular genocide and read about it, and of course was horrified, but was also strangely, I don't even know how to explain it. I read the book about it. It was very interesting, the discussion about like the forensic anthropology part of how they would go and, you know, they're looking at the bones and explaining, this is the evidence we found, so we can tell that, you know, this is kind of what happened. And, you know, also the history in the area, it was a recent genocide, so people were still alive who had lived through it and survived, which, you know, and then talking about the ICC and, you know, having to go and testify there. But it also kind of had the history of the region, and it's really interesting and quite scary about how someone who is either in a position of power or is gaining power makes one decision, and they're going into it from a good place. Like, they do have good intentions, and they make a decision that's in a morally gray area because they think it's going to be for the greater good. And then once you make that decision, the next decision that's in a slightly more gray area morally becomes easier to make. And then eventually you're 10 of those decisions down the road, and all of the sudden you are committing genocide, and like you're very righteous about it. And it just made it very clear of how slippery a slope that is, of how power can corrupt someone. And you just keep going one step further and one step further and one step further. Like your line of the things that you will never do just kind of keeps moving as opposed to standing still. And that was like really, really frightening to me, because in my mind before that, I would always, think of people who commit these atrocities or who order these atrocities to be committed, that, it's like they're crazy, like they're literally crazy. Something is wrong in their brain. I don't know the right psychological term for what that kind of person would be, but like something's really crazy. And then you actually look at the history of it and you're like, oh, this person, like I can see their thought process. I absolutely don't agree with it, and they are definitely responsible for this and should be punished as such. But I can see how it happened, and it seemed frightfully easy for that to happen. Anyhow, so I guess I should maybe stop talking about that. But when I was in that class, I would read one book about that, because I just felt horrible that I didn't know about like these entire massive groups of people who had just been killed essentially. And I felt not like guilty about not knowing, because obviously it was just coming from a place of ignorance. But I would read about one of these genocides that was new to me, because they don't teach you about that usually in most American schools. And then, other than the Holocaust, of course, but more modern day genocides, they generally don't highlight in secondary school. But I would read one of those books and I would get like so incredibly depressed and stuff that I would have to read like a trashy romance novel afterwards, where like I know this is going to have a happy ending. I know, the main characters are going to get together, and like literally had to do that for my mental health. And that's probably one of the reasons why I don't think I would ever like seriously go into that field. There are other reasons why I wouldn't go into the field, because I was thinking about doing that for a while. But anyway, I said I was going to move away from that topic. So if you don't like off-topic chat, just let me know in the comments below. But these are things that I find really, really interesting and that I like learning about, and I think we should learn about, because we need to stop doing it, right? I mean, not that you and I personally are doing this, but the world as a whole, people as a whole, we need to stop behaving these ways. But anyway, it looks like I've gotten most of the dishes in the dishwasher here, and I just have some more hand wash stuff to do, and I'm kind of wiping stuff down. And I guess I didn't really want to talk about what I was doing in this part of the voiceover, because I was so incredibly overdoing this at this point. And honestly, y'all have seen me do dishes and clean my kitchen quite a few times at this point. But yeah, I was really wanting to stop, and I thought, well, you know what? I don't have to do these hand wash dishes. It's not that bad now. But since I was making the video, I wanted a good after shot, and I figured I might as well go ahead and finish it. But yeah, I was not super pleased about having to do this anymore, because it actually took a while, and I'm also standing there knowing that I still have to empty that garbage under me. So I did do that when I think later on I give you kind of like an overview of the end result of the kitchen, and we take a peek in the fridge again, and then I mentioned I'm going to go walk Max because he was being very patient and wanting to go for another walk. But I did take the garbage out then because I didn't want it to be so smelly with all of that nasty food in there. And I hate that we wasted that much food. Part of it is just, some of it's making too much of stuff. Some of it is just, we intend to take it to work in our lunches, and then we just don't see it when we're making our lunches, because I know that I am not good about making my lunches the night before. I'm generally doing it, you know, the last 5 minutes before I go out the door. So I just need to prepare better. I mean, all of this is just preparing better. It's making sure that we meal plan more, like I said before. I go through cycles where I really do a great job at meal planning for quite some time, and then I don't know if it's getting burnt out on it, but it's just like, okay, I focused on that, but these other things are falling behind, so now I need to focus on these other things. And it's just, to be perfectly honest, there's just too much to do to be able to do it all well, right? I think everyone can kind of relate to that these days. Expectations are high for us to be able to work and for us to be able to maintain a household and for us to be present parents with our children. And it's a lot. Like in the past, like if you work full-time, a 40-hour work week is not meant for you to be able to keep your house and spend quality time with your kids with that sort of schedule if both parents are working. That's a schedule that was built when there was one parent staying home usually, or you know, you were just in a situation where the kids looked after each other and it was more acceptable for young children to be at home by themselves, or they would be out working themselves. So yeah, it just gets to be too much. So I always, you know, try my best, but like I said in this video that I was going to meal plan, and I definitely didn't meal plan this week, and we definitely desperately need to go to the grocery store, as in we don't have bread, we don't have eggs, you know, right, as I'm doing this voiceover. Obviously we had eggs and milk in this video, but yeah, like right now we're out of eggs, we're out of bread. We don't have any berries left for our kids, which is like a capital offense in our house. There are no bananas. So yeah, that has been something that has been taking less priority lately, and we are feeling the effects of that. And some of those effects are just like having to throw out this food that has gone bad, or not thinking to look, oh, do I actually need to make this food, or do we have other food that we should be eating first? Because we're very privileged to be able to, you know, afford all of the food, you know, that we need to be healthy and happy. Not saying it feels super affordable to us, but we can afford it. Like we are not in a situation where we are running out of food and not being able to buy it, you know, because we're waiting for a paycheck to come in or something like that. So I feel very fortunate about that. And we're getting close to where I'm going to show you the finished product here. All right, y'all, here's the final result. Dishwasher is running. Hand wash dishes are drying. The sink and countertops are genuinely clean. Oh, sorry, I just realized I'm not wearing my mic. Oh well. And then this guy, as you saw before, is way cleaner. All right. I think it is time. Ignore the top. You didn't see that. I think it is time for me to take a break and go walk our dog Max, because I hear him whining in the background. All right. Thanks for watching this one. I will see you in the next one. Bye.